in a lavish setting. A complete shrew brandished a whip, cracking it loudly. The poor girl on the receiving end could only eat dirt, writhing in pain. The shrew, whip in hand, gloated she has to be married off. I'm just worried my sister won't know the rules after marrying into the Prince of Qin's manor. As her elder sister, I have to teach her the rules of our household. Having said this, she turned around haughtily and said, "Let's go." A servant rushed over and helped the girl up from the ground. "Miss, are you all right?" The rain had stopped. Someone offered her a cup of water. "Here, drink some water." Another person added, "That was quite a beating. Eldest sister is really something." The girl took the water and thanked them. The person replied, "What's there to thank? We're all concubine-born daughters. We have to look out for each other, don't we?" Then they said to the girl, "Don't forget about us after you're married. Come home and visit often." The girl smiled and nodded, appearing very happy. Night fell. Red lanterns swayed in the wind, accompanied by a persistent cough. Cough, cough. The handkerchief was stained with blood. The girl was terrified. What is this?" She clutched her stomach and muttered to herself, "This is poison. It's them," she thought, recalling the two people she had seen that morning. "I've always known I'm just the unfavored, concubine-born daughter of the Prime Minister's manor, but I still tried to live." Just then, a maid rushed in and shouted, "Mississippi." The girl had already collapsed, but her mind was still racing. People say heaven has eyes. If I could marry into that family, I wouldn't have to suffer anymore. The maid cried, "Miss, wake up." Others stood outside watching. A woman pinched her nose and said, "How unlucky. Get her into the bridal palanquin and send her off before she dies. From now on, she has nothing to do with us." Unable to move, she thought, marrying a dead man wasn't enough. In the end, they even wanted my life. If there really are gods, I beg you to make those who humiliated me pay the price. They must pay the price. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a girl in a white lab coat, bearing some resemblance to the previous girl, exclaimed excitedly, "Success. This special medicine is finally finished. 3 months of overtime finally paid off." The girl held her head, feeling dizzy. Leaning on the table, she thought, "My head hurts so much. Just a few all-nighters, and I'm this dizzy. Not good. I have to hurry before I lose consciousness completely." She could still hear the crackling of electricity. When she opened her eyes again, she was in the body of the poor girl. Sitting up, she said, "I remember the test tube breaking, the methane leak, and then, where is this?" Fragmented memories flooded her mind. Piecing together these memories, she concluded, "I've transmigrated after death. This body is Liao Ningjia, the bullied second miss of the Prime Minister's manor. Recently, the Emperor's most beloved son, the Prince of Qin, fell gravely ill. To appease the Emperor, the Prime Minister arranged for her to marry into the Prince of Qin's manor to bring good luck. Who knew that on the wedding day, she would be poisoned by her sisters? Now, I'm in the bridal palanquin, being carried to the Prince of Qin's manor. At this moment, the two servants carrying the palanquin were whispering, "The bride is being carried in." Before he could finish, the other interrupted, "Who cares? Everyone in Dalian knows this princess is here to bring good luck. Dead or alive, it doesn't matter." Hearing the servants' conversation, the girl sighed inwardly, so pitiful. But now, this pitiful person is me. Suddenly, she clutched her stomach. It hurts. Then she realized she was clutching something in her hand. Looking down, she thought, wait, the shape, size, quantity. This is from my lab. She couldn't believe it. Holding the items, she said, "I can't believe the medicine came with me too. This is incredible." Despite her disbelief, she swallowed the medicine. After taking it, she murmured, "Liao Ningjia, I don't know why I become you, but I understand your wish. Those people must be punished. I will live as you and never let anyone bully me again." The palanquin stopped at the entrance of the Prince of Qin's manor. A maid immediately helped her out and asked, "Miss, are you all right?" She replied, "Don't worry, I'm fine." Together, they walked into the manor. It was eerily quiet. The maid immediately remarked, "That's strange. It's your and the prince's wedding day, yet there isn't a single guest." She didn't speak, only thinking, "Isn't this just a marriage for good luck? No one cares about this, miss." As they walked, the maid suddenly screamed this. How could this be? She turned and asked what was wrong. The maid said in shock, "Miss, they actually used a rooster to perform the wedding ceremony with you." The surrounding people murmured, saying how pitiful it was to use a rooster for the wedding ceremony. Nanny Shao looked at Liao Ningjia and said guiltily, "It will be even worse. I'm afraid the Prince of Qin won't make it through the night. Tomorrow, you'll likely be a widow, alone and desolate for the rest of your life." Liao Ningjia thought to herself, although they said it was to improve his fortune, is the Prince of Qin really this ill? Seeing her complex expression, Nanny Zhao said, Miss, if you're unwilling, this wedding doesn't have to continue. Someone held her down. Liao Ningjie said obediently, no need, I'll do it myself. The ceremony continued. First, they bowed to heaven and earth. If her birth date and time were unfavorable to the Prince of Qin, how could she be worthy of him? Arriving at Qin Yuhan's room, the nanny instructed her, tonight is your and the Prince of Qin's wedding night. Serve the prince well, and do not come out before dawn. Understood. Liao Ningjie softly replied, I understand. Chu Jia, beside her, called out worriedly. Liao Ningjie comforted her, don't be afraid. If you're scared, wait outside. She gently entered the room. The strong smell of medicine made Liao Ningjie uncomfortable. She covered her nose, thinking this medicinal smell is too strong. Finally, she saw the Prince of Qin lying weakly and unconscious on the bed. Seeing his frail but still handsome appearance, she thought, so this is the Prince of Qin. This is the real Prince of Qin. The Prince of Qin in the plays are all fake. This handsome man is truly good-looking. Liao Ningjie gently placed her fingers on his wrist to take his pulse. Faint red spots appeared on his pale skin. These symptoms seemed more like poisoning than a serious illness. She breathed a sigh of relief, thinking, it seems there's still hope. At least I don't have to be a widow now. Then she called out, please prepare some hot water and bring 2 jars of new AI Hong wine. Nanny Xiao was angered by her commands, thinking, are these the rules of the Prince of Qin's manor? Does she think she's the mistress now? Nanny Xiao replied, Miss, just serve the Prince of Qin well. What do you need those things for? Liao Ningjie awkwardly walked out of the room and said, the Prince of Qin asked for them. The Prince of Qin wants to drink wedding wine. The hot water is for after the wedding night. She lied without changing her expression. If the Prince of Qin can survive tonight, maybe I can even leave him an heir. These words stunned both the nanny and Hong Yuan. She thought, it would be good to move out of the Prince of Qin's manor early. The nanny had no choice but to bring everything she asked for, reporting, Miss, everything you requested is here. Liao Ningjie replied with an okay and walked into the room, approaching Qin Yuhan. He warily pushed her away, saying, don't touch me. Liao Ningjie said indifferently, Your Highness, you're about to meet King Yama. What are you still struggling for? She added, I've already performed the wedding ceremony with your rooster. As your wife, what part of your body can't I touch? Qin Yuhan said weakly and angrily, to be taken advantage of by a woman today. How ridiculous. Liao Ningjie instructed him, right quickly vomit the poison. I'm going to start saving you. These words surprised Qin Yuhan. Liao Ningjie gently inserted the silver needles into his body and asked curiously, weren't you very resistant to me just now? Why are you so cooperative now, Your Highness? Qin Yuhan sat up and looked at her, saying, if you understand medicine, it doesn't hurt to try. Liao Ningjie added, Your Highness is truly intelligent. No one is harming you now. It's just that you want to die early. She carefully observed the silver needles she had just pulled out, noticing that they had turned black. She thought, the blood blackened the silver needles. It really is poisoning, not just an illness. Bloodletting can only alleviate it. The best solution is still dimercaprol. Qin Yuhan noticed the change in her expression and coldly asked, what's wrong? Liao Ningjie replied, don't worry, I need to think. She thought to herself, I was able to get medicine from the lab before, I should be able to do it again this time. Liao Ningjie clasped her hands together, praying repeatedly, dimercaprol, dimercaprol, dimercaprol. Just then, with a ding, a syringe appeared out of thin air. Liao Ningjie reached out and caught it. Jingshi de fa shan, yo yi gu da some way, surprised to find a faint garlic smell. It really was dimercaprol. Then could she also ask for a hamburger, fried chicken, fries, and cola? Seeing Liao Ningjie's excited actions, Qin Yuhan thought to himself, is this woman crazy? She listed a bunch of foods, but nothing appeared. Disappointed, she thought, it seems I can only get things from the lab. Watching the syringe pierce his arm, Qin Yuhan curiously asked, what is this? Liao Ningjie mysteriously replied, a secret ancestral recipe. After injecting the Prince of Qin, she muttered to herself. Finally back in the lab, the syringe in her hand gradually disappeared. She thought excitedly, great, I have a ton of medicine in my lab. I can totally become a god-level doctor in this world. After putting away the medical equipment, Liao Ningjie said to Qin Yuhan, Your Highness, take off your clothes. Qin Yuhan, shocked by her words, asked you. What did you say? Are you asking me to bathe? She urged him shamelessly. Hurry up, the water will get cold, and it won't be as effective. Liao Ningjie also encouraged him. This is for your own good. Don't be shy. I'm not going to eat you. Faced with his new bride's shamelessness, Qin Yuhan could only helplessly rub his forehead, thinking, what kind of person did I marry? Liao Ningjie slowly helped him towards the bathtub, constantly reminding him, slowly, be careful, don't fall. Once Qin Yuhan was in the tub, she began to size him up, thinking this prince must be 1.85 meters tall, and even his abs. It's surprising he can maintain such a good figure while being sick. Leaving the room, Liao Ningjie saw someone and quickly asked for help. Young lady, go boil some hot water. Hong Yuan said impatiently, didn't I just bring some? What more do you want? Liao Ningjie replied innocently, of course we need to wash again. Do you doubt His Highness's stamina? Hearing this, Hong Yuan, both embarrassed and angry, cursed, you vixen. Meanwhile, the manor guards continued to patrol the courtyard. After giving instructions to Hong Yuan, Liao Ningjie returned to the room and sighed, leaning against the bathtub. Changing the water 7 times, I'm almost exhausted. This original body can't handle this back and forth. Qin Yuhan peeked at her, thinking to himself, rumor has it she's frail and sickly, yet the Prime Minister's manor actually sent the second miss for a chengshi, auspicious arrival. Ward off evil spirits in the prince's bedroom, consume ginseng, lingji, and cordyceps, and on top of that, she can sleep so soundly. He watched as she fell asleep, exhausted. For some reason, Qin Yuhan suddenly reached out and pulled off Liao Ningjie's head covering, tossing it aside. Now, he could see her more clearly. Liao Ningjie was startled awake by Qin Yuhan's action. Right in front of her was the prince, uneasily clutching his neck. Seeing this, she asked worriedly, Your Highness, what's wrong? Please don't die. The next day, Qin Yuhan, feeling much better, asked her, what exactly happened last night? Shouldn't you explain? Liao Ningjie glared at him and retorted, shouldn't you thank me first? After all, I saved your life. Qin Yuhan couldn't help but hope, if she can really pull me back from the gates of hell, could she also cure my legs? He replied tactfully, I was rude just now. I want to reward you. What do you want? Liao Ningjie slowly stood up, observing him, and thought, this prince is smarter than I thought. His attitude has changed. He probably guessed that I can cure his legs and wants to probe my intentions. I just want to live a good life here, and this prince can be my backer. She began to put on a sincere expression. I only wish that your highness will live, well, every day. The longer you live, the more support I have. After all that commotion yesterday, I just want to find a place to sleep. Your highness, please rest well. Qin Yuhan listened to her words, half believing, just wants to live a good life. He said firmly, I will. As soon as Liao Ningjie stepped out the door, she was stopped by a group of people. Nanny Xiao, at the forefront, angrily questioned her, what are you doing coming out? If you're out here, who will attend to his highness? Liao Ningjie wasn't afraid at all and immediately retorted, this princess consort is only responsible for attending at night. Nanny Xiao continued to nag, his highness is unwell. We don't even know if you consummated the marriage last night, yet you dare to run wild in the manor. You should be sent back to the Prime Minister's manor. Liao Ningjie pulled out a handkerchief, thinking thankfully that she had wiped the prince's mouth last night, and said loudly, the handkerchief is here. Why don't you ask his highness yourselves? He's already awake. The old woman asked in surprise and joy, what did you say? His highness is awake. I knelt until midnight praying for his well-being. Is the auspicious arrival working? Qin Yuhan's voice came from inside the room. Nanny Xiao, go change my clothes. She happily ordered the servants, quick, go and invite the Imperial physician. Tell them his highness can get out of bed. Seeing the situation improve, Hong Yuan thought jealously, this woman is really lucky. Even if his highness is awake tonight, he may not survive the night. Liao Ningjie, annoyed by her look, coldly reminded her, I don't like that look in your eyes. After saying this, she instructed the maid, let's go, Chujia. But before she could leave, Nanny Zhao stopped her. Princess consort, please wait. Liao Ningjie, her face full of drowsiness, asked wearily, Nanny Zhao, is there anything else? In her mind, she thought, I haven't slept all night. I really want to catch up on some sleep. The nanny's attitude towards Liao Ningjie became much more respectful. With a slight bow, she said, "The prince instructed this old servant to tell you that the princess consort worked hard last night. However, the imperial physician will be arriving soon, so please wait a moment." Liao Ningjie asked in confusion, "What does the imperial physician examining the prince have to do with me?" She paused, then replied, "Last night, neither the princess consort nor the prince allowed the imperial physician to examine you to see if you were suitable for childbearing." Liao Ningjie replied helplessly, "Oh, all right." Inwardly, she sighed in despair. Not letting people sleep, how am I supposed to endure life in this prince's manor? Liao Ningjie turned back to the nanny and said, "I'll go change my clothes," and then return to the prince's room. Liao Ningjie returned after changing her clothes, her face filled with fatigue and her heart extremely gloomy. She was still hungry after a busy night. She suggested, "Your Highness, your condition has initially stabilized. Now, what you need most is nourishment. You should eat more." Qin Yuhan immediately understood her intentions and asked directly, "Are you hungry?" Liao Ningjie put on a concerned expression and replied, "Whether I'm hungry or not is a small matter. The main thing is that your highness has been bedridden for a long time, eating bland food every day. Now that your health has improved, you must nourish yourself properly." Qin Yuhan didn't want to expose her, so he went along with her words and instructed, "Have the kitchen prepare some dishes that the princess consort enjoys." Hearing that she could finally eat, Liao Ningjie smiled happily. Great. She immediately rattled off a string of rich dishes, leaving both Nanny Zhao and the prince stunned. Pig trotters, braised pork knuckle, longjing prawns, shark fin, almond tofu, stir-fried fresh fish. Han Yuan interjected, "The prince doesn't like greasy food. He's just recovered from his illness. Are you ordering these for the prince or for yourself?" Liao Ningjie said confidently, "The prince needs nourishment. He can't eat too blandly. Besides, the prince and I are husband and wife. Who could care more about the prince's health than I do?" The maid angrily scolded her. "You clearly just want to eat yourself, and you're using the prince's health as an excuse." Liao Ningjie was not to be outdone and immediately retorted, "The prince himself said to make dishes I like. Would I harm my own husband?" Seeing her constantly teasing Han Yuan, Qin Yuhan thought to himself, "I thought this woman was just bold, but I didn't expect her to be so thick-skinned." He rubbed his forehead with a slight headache, helplessly listening to the two bicker. Infuriated, Han Yuan pointed at her and said, "You're just a girl brought in for a Chongshik marriage. Do you really think you're the princess consort?" Liao Ningjie calmly replied, "If I'm not the princess consort, then are you? Don't you want to see the prince dote on me exclusively?" Hearing these words, Qin Yuhan thought, "Dote on her exclusively?" At this moment, an angry voice came from another residence. "What? How is the prince not dead yet?" The person seemed unwilling to accept reality, determined to see him dead before giving up. "I don't believe it. Impossible. It must be an illusion. Prepare the horse. Prepare the horse." After a heated exchange, the food was finally served. Liao Ningjie ate like a starving wolf, constantly exclaiming, "Delicious, so delicious." Seeing her complete lack of ladylike demeanor, Qin Yuhan couldn't help but comment, "You're eating like a starving wolf." These words made Liao Ningjie a little unhappy. At this time, the imperial physician rushed in Guangguangzhangzhangded, "Your Highness, allow this humble minister to take your pulse." Seeing the prince's healthy complexion, he was utterly incredulous. "How is this possible? Yesterday, you were on the verge of death, and today you can sit up and eat." Seeing the imperial physician's reaction, Liao Ningjie immediately understood and whispered to her new husband, "See, this isn't a normal reaction. He's surprised you're not dead." Qin Yuhan also responded in disbelief. "Even I find it strange that I'm still alive." He watched her eat with puffed cheeks, wondering, she's clearly an unfavored daughter from a side branch of the family. Could she truly have come back from the dead? Liao Ningjie said innocently, "Perhaps my destiny is simply blessed, bringing good luck to your highness." Not receiving the answer he wanted, Qin Yuhan fell into deep thought. Liao Ningjie thoughtfully picked up a piece of food for him and said, "Your highness, eat this." Before Qin Yuhan could say, "This prince doesn't need it," the imperial physician hurriedly stopped him. "Wait, your highness's body is somewhat sensitive." "Wait, your highness's body is somewhat sensitive." The imperial physician walked quickly to Liao Ningjie's side, firmly grasping her hand to stop her from giving the prince more food. The imperial physician then loudly ordered Nanny Zhao, "What are you standing around for? Take all these dishes away." But Liao Ningjie slammed her chopsticks on the table, her voice resounding. Who dares touch them? Who says someone seriously ill can't eat rich food? The Yellow Emperor's Inner Canon, the Compendium of Materia Medica, which medical text stipulates that the sick can only drink plain porridge. The imperial physician bluntly replied, since ancient times, the sick have only been allowed to eat bland food. Rich flavors are absolutely forbidden. Hong Yuan interjected, Princess Consort, this is Imperial Physician 1. He has served in the Imperial Hospital for 30 years, practiced medicine for 50 years, and is the head of the Imperial Hospital. How can you? Watching each meat dish being taken away, Liao Ningjie felt a pang of heartache. No, my meat. She insisted, speaking of strong flavors, there are more than 200 kinds of medicinal herbs with pungent flavors. As for richness, it can be balanced with hawthorn and fleece flower root. How can it be forbidden altogether? Moreover, His Highness has been seriously ill for 3 months, drinking only plain porridge every day, and his body has become increasingly weak. Now is the perfect time to supplement with some meat while his condition is improving. Should we wait until he's completely depleted before supplementing? Seeing her reasoned argument, Qin Yuhan began to think more deeply. I thought she was just greedy, but I didn't expect her to actually be considering my health. Imperial Physician 1, both ashamed and annoyed, scolded sharply, You foolish girl, do you understand medicine? Have you studied medicine? So young, and yet so ignorant. Being reprimanded, Liao Ningjie thought to herself, this Imperial Physician 1's mouth is really like that stubborn old doctor. She slowly sat back in her chair, trying to suppress her anger. Qin Yuhan became even more curious about her. I didn't expect the second miss of the general's manner to be like this. Interesting. He then handed her a plate of pastries, saying, have some pastries if you're hungry. Liao Ningjie immediately accepted them. Your Highness is so thoughtful. Qin Yuhan then instructed Imperial Physician 1, Imperial Physician 1, take my pulse. Imperial Physician 1 respectfully replied, yes. Your Highness, the reason your legs cannot move is that the root of the illness has not yet been eradicated and your blood circulation is not smooth. With proper rest and daily massage with medicinal wine, they will naturally recover. Hearing this, Liao Ningjie couldn't help but snort, and the two beside her looked at her in confusion. She quickly explained, it's nothing, I just find it strange. You're the head of the Imperial Hospital, yet your diagnosis is so, anyone could say that. Inwardly, she dared not say more. He can't even distinguish between illness and poisoning. His medical skills are so poor, yet he can still be the head. How laughable. Imperial Physician 1 felt insulted and said angrily, you dare question me. Liao Ningjie calmly replied, His Highness surviving last night was a great blessing. I can't let him be ruined by you. Imperial Physician 1 said conceitedly, you insult me too much. Your Highness, I can no longer treat this woman. Farewell. With that, he ordered his servants to pack up and leave. His attitude displeased Qin Yuhan. Hong Yuan anxiously stopped Imperial Physician 1. This is all this woman's fault. Imperial Physician 1, if you don't treat His Highness, and the Emperor blames you, can you bear the responsibility? But Imperial Physician 1 remained arrogant. Ignoring her pleas, I will report today's events truthfully. His Highness's illness is not life-threatening. Nanny Zhao also reminded Liao Ningjie, quickly apologized to Imperial Physician 1. Liao Ningjie said, between a physician and a patient, lives are at stake, yet you don't discuss medical principles. His Highness's legs cannot move. Do you think it's an illness or poisoning? She coldly reminded him, Imperial Physician 1, please answer my question directly. Imperial Physician 1 was taken aback. Of course it's an illness. His Highness has been ill for a long time and hasn't recovered. If it were poisoning, that's impossible. I've already checked His Highness's diet. There's no poisoning. Liao Ningjie said calmly, you say it's an illness, but I say His Highness was poisoned. Qin Yuhan, hearing her words, remained silent, waiting for her to continue her confrontation with Imperial Physician 1. Hong Yuan angrily accused her again. Nanny, this woman is talking nonsense. She must have ulterior motives. Nanny Zhao kindly reminded, quickly throw her out. Liao Ningjie, this is the Prince of Qin's manor. Show some respect. Imperial Physician 1 continued, absurd. I am the head of the Imperial Hospital. You, a little girl who hasn't studied medicine, dare to question me. But Liao Ningjie didn't back down at all, retorting, I think you're afraid of losing the Imperial Hospital's reputation, so you don't dare to admit the truth, do you? Completely provoked, he lost his composure and angrily rebuked, "Impudent little girl, you don't even respect your elders. If you have the ability, then compete with me. I'll show you what real medical skill is." Liao Ningjie coldly asked, "Compete in what?" The Imperial physician pointed at Qin Yuhan and said, "Let's see who can cure the prince's legs first. We each treat one." She casually replied, "Fine." At this moment, a woman beside them angrily said, "This is too absurd. How can you treat the prince like this?" But before she could finish, Qin Yuhan interrupted her. "This prince also wants to see if she has such ability." Liao Ningjie confidently said, "Imperial physician, if I lose, I will shave my head and become a nun, go into the mountains to cultivate." The Imperial physician retorted, "Then if you lose, you give me the position of head of the Imperial Hospital." He began to implement his method. "I will write a prescription, have someone make it into a medicinal ointment, and then soak the prince's leg in medicinal wine." Qin Yuhan calmly said, "Good. This prince will be the witness." At this time, one of his legs was already soaking in a basin of water, and Imperial physician was holding a towel, preparing to begin the treatment. Everyone around held their breath in anticipation. Until evening, the entire prince's manor was brightly lit. Imperial physician tiredly raised his hand to wipe his forehead, a satisfied expression on his face. Qin Yuhan felt as if he had regained some feeling in his leg. His calf twitched slightly, causing ripples on the water surface. Nanny Zhao was moved to tears by this result. Looking at Liao Ningjie's stunned expression, Imperial physician said proudly, "Ignorant little girl, it's not too late to admit your mistake now. This old man won't hold it against you, and you won't have to go to the mountains to become a nun. You just need to reflect on your actions." But Liao Ningjie quickly regained her confidence and instructed the maid Chu Jia, "Pull open the screen." Chu Jia immediately replied, "Yes." She curiously observed Qin Yuhan's legs, thinking, "The prince's leg can move now." A syringe gradually appeared in her hand. She knew that her medicine could only cure one leg, so she slowly inserted the needle into the prince's other leg. Seeing this strange object, Qin Yuhan curiously thought, "What is this?" However, he felt a coolness in his left leg, and the pain disappeared. After the injection, Liao Ningjie happily said, "Done." She walked outside and announced, "The prince's legs can move now." Imperial physician hadn't finished his cup of tea when she had already cured him. He spat out a mouthful of tea. He stuttered in disbelief. "Preposterous. This old man has been busy for half a day, and you actually—" But when he saw Qin Yuhan walk out without any difficulty, he froze as if struck by lightning. Qin Yuhan himself couldn't believe it, his face full of astonishment. Chu Jia happily congratulated, "Our Miss One. Our Miss One." Imperial physician could only admit defeat. "This old man has lost. I will resign and return home tomorrow." Liao Ningjie offered him a way out. "There's no need to resign and return home. How about Imperial physician gives me the Imperial Hospital's token, so I can freely enter and exit the Imperial Hospital in the future?" Imperial physician reluctantly handed over the token, and Liao Ningjie quickly took it. "Thank you, Imperial physician." Nanny Zhao happily turned to report to the prince, "I'll see Imperial physician out." She thought to herself, "This Liao Ningjie is truly a lucky star." Liao Ningjie's stomach grumbled again, and she thought, "I'm a little hungry. Have someone cook the meat that was just put away." At this moment, Qin Yuhan walked over and patted her shoulder, coldly asking, "You could have cured this prince's legs earlier, yet you let Imperial physician turn this prince from a healthy pig into a cripple." Liao Ningjie whispered to him, "Stop pulling, it's useless." The prince simply replied, Qin Yuhan asked again, "You cured this prince's legs. What do you want?" The prince had already asked her this once today, and she had already answered once. Liao Ningjie replied, "Your Highness has already asked today, and I have already answered. There is no one in the world who wishes for your Highness's health and longevity more than I do." Qin Yuhan understood her meaning. Only if this prince lives can this woman be the princess consort of the Qin manor. Otherwise, if she returns to the prime minister's manor, she can only be a widow who brings bad luck to her husband. Liao Ningjie carefully advised him, "Your Highness's body has just begun to improve and is still very weak. A complete recovery cannot be rushed. When you are stronger, I will try to treat you again." Hearing her words, Qin Yuhan was secretly suspicious. Seeing she was about to leave without explanation, Qin Yuhan quickly asked, "Stop, where are you going?" "I'm going to find a room to rest." Nanny Zhao peeked in and said, "Considering Princess Consort worked hard last night, it's good to rest early, But His Highness has ordered that from today onwards, she will eat and live with me. Hearing him say this, the nanny was very surprised, having never seen His Highness so proactive. Seeing no trace of joy on Liao Ningjia's face, Qin Yuhan asked again, "What's wrong? Are you unwilling?" She thought to herself, what is Qin Yuhan up to? But on the surface, she replied, "Of course I'm willing. This is what I've been hoping for. I'm overwhelmed by your favor, but I'm a restless sleeper. I'm afraid I'll disturb your highness." But Qin Yuhan didn't give her a chance to refuse, saying, "It's fine. I sleep very soundly. I can't hear anything." Liao Ningjia made another excuse. "I read and practice calligraphy before bed. It's very noisy, your highness." Her attitude made Qin Yuhan almost lose his patience. He thought to himself, "Woman, you're playing with fire." He said again, "It doesn't matter. I like the liveliness." Liao Ningjia was speechless, having run out of excuses. Nanny Zhao, however, was secretly observing her, thinking that this princess consort was indeed a treasure favored by His Highness. Perhaps within a year, the manor would have a child. Qin Yuhan ordered, "Quickly prepare new bedding for the princess consort." Liao Ningjia could only admit defeat in this contest. Seeing the servants carrying the new bedding into His Highness's room, Chu Jia exclaimed, "Miss, you finally made it. After enduring so much hardship, you're finally going to live a good life." After settling the princess consort, Qin Yuhan sat quietly reading a book. But Liao Ningjia felt he had other motives. "This man doesn't trust me. He's afraid I'll wander around the courtyard, so he's keeping me locked by his side." I avoided one trap, only to fall into another. Neither the Prime Minister's manor nor the Prince of Qin's manor are good places, especially this man. I must not underestimate him. Seeing her sighing repeatedly with a dejected expression, Qin Yuhan suddenly asked, "What are you thinking about?" She replied absent-mindedly, "I'm hungry." This surprised him. "It's only been 2 hours since lunch. You're hungry again." Chu Jia quickly explained for her mistress, "It's not that Miss is hungry, but she's worried that your highness didn't eat well at noon and your body is too weak to endure." Liao Ningjia nodded repeatedly. Yes, that's exactly what I mean." Qin Yuhan then asked, "Then may I ask what the princess consort would like to eat tonight?" At this moment, Han Yuan suddenly frowned at her, so Liao Ningjia listed a whole bunch of dishes. "Tonight I want braised pork ribs, Westlake vinegar fish, crystal dumplings, salt-baked duck." But His Highness only replied, "Let's eat something light tonight." Her eyes lit up again, and she greedily added a few more dishes. "Then how about adding a few vegetarian dishes for your highness, and a top-grade A5 spiny gourd?" When the dishes were served, Liao Ningjia was both happy and excited. With delicious dishes filling the table, she ate with relish, forgetting everything else. "Ah, this is so delicious." Seeing her eat so heartily, Qin Yuhan was suspicious. Is it really that delicious? Liao Ningjia secretly observed him, calculated in her mind, and finally decided to serve Qin Yuhan some food. "Your Highness, you should eat some too. You need to nourish your body." His Highness was silent for a moment. Seeing her serve him food, he actually ate it. Liao Ningjia said happily, "You should eat too. I'm too embarrassed to eat alone." Seeing this, Nanny Zhao was even more certain that Liao Ningjia was a lucky star. Seeing Liao Ningjia's cheeks bulging with food, Qin Yuhan curiously asked, "Does the Prime Minister's manor not feed you?" Chu Jia shook her head and replied, "No, Mrs. always had a small appetite." After finishing her meal, Liao Ningjia wiped her mouth and said to His Highness, "The Prime Minister is an upright and honest official. There's almost no meat in the manor all year round, so I have to eat more. This is your Highness's manor, so I presume you can afford to keep me, right?" Hearing this, Qin Yuhan frowned and thought to himself, upright and honest. Last year, the court allocated 300,000 taels of silver for disaster relief, but only 1 million taels arrived. With all the layers of exploitation, the Prime Minister himself likely pocketed a considerable amount. Seeing she had finished eating, he ordered the servants, "Take it away." She replied, "Yes." Liao Ningjia suddenly asked, "Wait, are you going to take away all the leftover dishes? There's still a lot that hasn't been touched." Qin Yuhan replied coldly, "Choose for yourself." Liao Ningjia knew he was right, but didn't want to say much, only saying, "But I chose them for your highness." This humble servant's small sincerity is truly pitiful, yet I always make mistakes. If your highness doesn't want to see me, I'd better move out of the manor. Qin Yuhan had no choice but to pick up his bowl and say, let me drink it. He surprisingly obediently picked up the bowl and slowly drank the soup mouthful by mouthful. Liao Ningjie clapped her hands and said, "That's right. You haven't had anything salty for so long lying in bed. Be careful of kidney deficiency." Hearing her mention kidneys, Qin Yuhan immediately felt insulted. He put the bowl back on Hong Yuan's tray and frowned at Liao Ningjie. As Hong Yuan carried the bowl away, her eyes glanced to the side, full of calculation. She gasped, tripped, and knocked over the incense burner. She quickly bowed her head and said, "This servant is guilty. This servant accidentally soiled the incense burner." Liao Ningjie said indifferently, "Don't put the incense burner there anymore. I don't like that smell." After the maids retreated, Liao Ningjie walked into the bedroom and lifted the curtain, looking somewhat worried. Seeing that Qin Yuhan had already closed his eyes to rest, she widened her eyes and wondered, "There's only one bed in this room. Where do I sleep?" The prince opened his eyes and glanced at her coldly, ordering, "What are you staring at? Come asleep." Liao Ningjie cautiously said, "Your Highness, this bed can't be slept in." Hearing this, he asked back, "The bed can't be slept in, then where do I sleep?" Liao Ningjie said matter-of-factly, "You're most likely poisoned by mercury, which will react with your blood. Sleeping on the bed might cause breathing difficulties. I suggest you sleep on the floor." But the prince was not a 3-year-old child. He frowned and said, "Do you take me for a fool? Who would believe such nonsense?" Liao Ningjie took the opposite approach and turned to leave. "Then I'll leave. I wish your highness a speedy recovery." Her stubbornness forced Qin Yuhan to give in. "Stop. Lay out a mattress for me." "I will definitely lay out a mattress for you." The prince increasingly felt that this woman was making things up. In the end, he was the one sleeping on the floor, while someone else slept soundly on the soft bed. The candlelight flickered, illuminating the entire room. The bedding had a faint pear blossom fragrance, the same as Qin Yuhan scent. Seeing her sleeping soundly, Qin Yuhan thought to himself, "Beautiful but fragile. Liao Ningjie has had a hard life since childhood." He secretly vowed, "I must let her live well." Looking at the person on the bed with her back to him, he silently called her name in his heart. "Liao Ningjie, are you a rabbit or a wolf raised by the Chengshang Fu?" At this moment, a soft sound came from outside the door, and someone pushed the door open. Qin Yuhan asked vigilantly, "Who is it?" Zhe Ying entered and bowed. "Your Highness, this subordinate is late." Qin Yuhan asked, "Zhe, how is the investigation going?" Zhe replied, "Your Highness, this subordinate went all the way to the South Sea to seek a doctor, but failed to find the legendary miracle doctor. Fortunately, your Highness is blessed with great fortune. Please punish this subordinate." Zhe was actually secretly relieved, having rushed back desperately. It seemed this marriage thing really worked. The prince coughed twice and ordered rise. "I asked you to investigate the second miss of the Chengshang Fu. How is that going?" Zhe told him everything he had learned. The second miss of the Chengshang Fu is indeed unfavored and quite pitiful. Her mother died early, and she has suffered coldness and abuse since childhood. Even the servants look down on her. There's nothing special about her, just an abandoned daughter. But Qin Yuhan didn't believe it. If you can't find anything, it means she's hiding it well. This woman doesn't seem cowardly at all. He asked again, "Have you heard of her having medical skills or having a teacher?" Zhe replied, "I haven't heard of it. I only heard that her mother knew some medicine. Perhaps she learned a little from her." The prince still didn't believe it. Her mother died so early. How could she learn medicine? Zhe guessed again. Perhaps she was often bullied in the residence and learned it from being sick so often. Qin Yuhan nodded slightly. It's not impossible. He waited for Zhe to come closer, and Zhe stepped forward. The prince whispered a few words in his ear. A moment later, Zhe replied, "This subordinate obeys." Qin Yuhan was even more certain in his heart that this woman was probably not so simple. Suddenly, Liao Ningjie murmured in the room, "I won't marry, I won't marry." He thought to himself, so she's still unwilling. Liao Ningjie kept muttering, "I won't marry." She also mumbled, "Stew it, and then leave." Qin Yuhan pondered, "Are you an abandoned child or a pawn sent to test me?" At this moment, Liao Ningjie's dream must be full of food. She mumbled again, "Roosters are for eating, not for marrying. Add goji berries, add ginseng." Qin Yuhan listened and thought helplessly. This woman really has no ambition at all. 2 days later, while changing clothes, Liao Ningjie whispered to Chu Jia, "This dress is a bit tight." While Chu Jia was still tidying Liao Liao Ningjia's clothes. Zhao Mama came in and said, "This dress was altered from a wedding gown. I'm worried the princess consort might gain weight." 2 days later, Liao Ningjia suddenly thought gaining weight would be good. "These past few days, I've been eating more than a pig in a sty." Zhao Mama suddenly looked at her with hopeful eyes. "Princess consort." After careful observation, she thought, could it be? But Liao Ningjia immediately denied it. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Zhao Mama still tried to persuade her. "What if it is? His Highness has been much better these past few days. He was even able to attend court today. Why couldn't you be pregnant? We should still invite the Imperial physician to take a look." Hearing this, Liao Ningjia broke out in a cold sweat, thinking, "We haven't done anything. How could I get pregnant on my own?" Zhao Mama's eyes were still full of hope. She looked at her, but Liao Ningjia directly dismissed the idea, saying loudly, "Impossible." Liao Ningjia then picked up a peach blossom hairpin and put in her hair. Seeing this, Chu Jia exclaimed in surprise, "Miss, this?" She looked at the item in her hand, a bracelet, and asked doubtfully, "Treasure." She held it up and asked, "What about this? Is this also very valuable?" Zhao Mama explained to her, "Of course, this is a family heirloom, one of a kind. It was a reward from His Highness when he quelled the rebellion in the southwest." Liao Ningjia asked in surprise, "Quelled the rebellion in the southwest? His Highness was only 16 years old then, right?" The image of His Highness in armor on the battlefield gradually appeared in her mind, contrasting with his current frail appearance. She thought this sickly beauty was actually able to go to battle and quell a rebellion. Liao Ningjia put the bracelet around her neck, and Zhao Mama said sadly, "It was also after returning to the capital that he started to become weak." She simply replied, "Is that so?" and continued to rummage through the jewelry. "Are there any other valuables?" Chu Jia quickly stopped her. "Miss, this is already too much, too valuable." Liao Ningjia said nonchalantly, "Valuable is good. That's what I want." As the carriage approached the Chancellor's residence, Liao Ningjia grumbled inside, "These things are almost crushing my head." Chu Jia desperately tried to persuade her, "Miss, please take some of them off." Liao Ningjia was covered in various precious jewels, as if she had hung every valuable thing she could find on herself. Touching the necklace around her neck, she thought, "No wonder it's pure gold. It's almost breaking my neck." Chu Jia said worriedly, "If those other misses see this, they'll be green with envy." Liao Ningjia asked in surprise, "What? Don't they give you new clothes?" She put a jade bracelet on Chu Jia's wrist and said, "From now on, in front of outsiders, you must call me Princess Consort, so as to avoid gossip." Seeing this valuable gift, Chu Jia stammered nervously, "PR Princess. Princess Consort." Liao Ningjia took off the hairpin from her head and said, "The maid who attends me must also dress appropriately." She placed the hairpin in Chu Jia's hair, making the girl even more flustered. "Princess Consort, this is too valuable. Liao Ningjia instructed, "I am a member of Prince Qin's household, and you are my person. From now on, what the prince is among men, I will be among women." Chu Jia finally understood and said to Liao Ningjia, "His Highness is second only to the Emperor. Even the Chancellor must bow to him." Liao Ningjia continued, "So it's them who should be careful, not us, especially after that poisoning incident a few days ago. Today, we'll settle the score." The carriage arrived at the Chancellor's residence, and a servant came to report to Liao Ningjia, "Princess Consort, the gate is closed." She lifted the curtain and instructed the servant, "Go knock on the door." She knew in her heart they wanted to give me a hard time from the start. She added, "Go knock and announce loudly that Princess Consort Qin has returned with her dowry." The servant replied, "Yes." Shouts rang out, "Princess Consort Qin has returned with her dowry. The Chancellor's residence is requested to send someone to welcome her." The servants outside discussed amongst themselves, "The gate hasn't opened for so long. What's going on with the Chancellor's residence? Our young miss has become the Princess Consort. Why haven't they opened the door yet? I don't think this Princess Consort is quite right. What do you know? Her daughter is already married, and she's still making such a fuss. Isn't that slapping the Chancellor in the face? What will the Chancellor think?" Liao Ningjia lifted the curtain again, and Chu Jia immediately understood. Chu Jia walked up to the guard and said, "The Princess Consort requests that the captain accompany me to break down the door. If we can't knock it open, we'll tear it down." The captain immediately agreed, "Yes." After a long while, someone finally shouted, "Princess Consort, the gate is open." She continued, have my parents and sisters come to greet me. Chujia hesitated for a moment, then replied, Princess consort, they haven't. Liao Ningjie responded, oh, then the servants must not have had time to inform them yet. Otherwise, with the deep affection between us sisters and the love between mother and daughter, how could they not come to welcome me? A calculating glint flashed in her eyes, and she finally instructed the servants, I'll wait here. I'll enter when my mother comes to receive me. By this time, a crowd had gathered outside, murmuring amongst themselves. An angry voice came from within the Chancellor's residence. Liao Ningjie, what are you doing again? This is the Chancellor's residence. Are you trying to make your parents lose face? She calmly replied, Mother, your words are harsh. I am a daughter of the Chancellor's residence. How could I do anything to damage our family's reputation? It's just that the gates are tightly closed, and I'm truly worried that something has happened. Lu Yingchun angrily retorted, how dare you still make excuses? A concubine-born daughter returning to her family home should enter through the side gate, yet you rely on your servants to smash open the main gate. When did the Chancellor's residence teach you to be such an arrogant daughter? As she spoke, she slowly approached Liao Ningjie's carriage. But Liao Ningjie was not angered at all. She calmly stated, Eldest sister, what you say is incorrect. Although I am concubine-born, I'm married as a principal wife and bear the responsibilities of a princess consort. How can I enter through the side gate? Jiang Shu said in a loud voice, Liao Ningjie, even if you are now the princess consort Qin, you are still a member of the Lu family. Causing such a scene today is truly disgraceful. You have no respect for the rules. She then ordered the servants, take her to the ancestral hall to kneel and copy the family rules. Liao Ningjie, still seated in her carriage, asked with amusement, family rules. Are they the family rules of the Chancellor's residence, or the family rules of my Prince Qin's household? The status of a princess consort is equivalent to that of a princess. Who dares to order servants to touch me? Lu Yingchun said disdainfully, Prince Qin. I'm afraid Prince Qin wouldn't even bother with you. Just then, the Chancellor returned to the residence and scolded sternly, outrageous. What is all this commotion? Beside him was Qin Yuhan, sitting in a wheelchair. Lu Yingchun quickly bowed and greeted them. Father, Your Highness. Liao Ningjie immediately put on a wronged expression and said to Qin Yuhan, You're here. Jiang Shu also began to accuse Liao Ningjie. My lord, you don't know. Before she could finish, Liao Ningjie quickly cried out, Mother want me to move out. I'm just a concubine-born daughter, so moving out wouldn't be a big deal, but I really can't bear to let your highness suffer with me, so I can only... She deliberately paused. Hearing her say this, Qin Yuhan was somewhat surprised, thinking, if I hadn't heard her previous words with my own ears, I would have really thought she had suffered some great injustice. Lu Yingchun said angrily, Of course, we're not asking His Highness to move out. Mother is asking you to move. Liao Ningjie slowly descended from the carriage, carefully calculating her every step. So, you want to separate us as husband and wife. As soon as she got out of the carriage, the surrounding crowd began to whisper, Here she comes, here she comes. Isn't this the one who married into the prince's household for a Chongshi the other day? The murmurs continued. Yes, look, His Highness's complexion has been getting better these past few days. It seems this second miss is truly a lucky star. That's right, everyone, bask in her good fortune. Liao Ningjie said casually, His Highness has difficulty with his legs and feet. I need to help him. Could it be that mother and eldest sister aren't making things difficult for me, but for His Highness? Seeing Liao Ningjie covered in glittering jewels, jealousy burned in Lu Yingchun's heart. These clothes, these jewels, not to mention me. Even mother doesn't have many of these. How could she have so many? Seeing Liao Ningjie covered in jewels, Qin Yuhan also thought helplessly, Did this woman put on all the jewelry I gave her? The Chancellor, unwilling to let the Chancellor's residence lose any more face, respectfully said at the gate, Your Highness, please this way. Jiang Shu also said amiably, Ningjie marrying for Chongshi is a blessing for our Lu family. Your Highness dotes on Ningjie so much. As her mother, I am very gratified. Liao Ningjie walked intimately to Qin Yuhan's side and said softly, Your Highness, it's windy outside. Let me push you inside first, lest the wind damage certain people's tongues. Qin Yuhan was taken aback. Damage their tongues. He thought, This has only just begun, and the arguing is endless. The drama to come is truly something to look forward to. Seeing her push the wheelchair through the gate, Lu Yingchun gritted her teeth in anger. That little wretch dared to interrupt Mother. Once inside the inner courtyard of the Chancellor's residence, she asked Qin Yuhan in a low voice, "Why are you in a wheelchair? Aren't you using your cane anymore? Are your legs bothering you again?" She asked softly, leaning close to his ear. Qin Yuhan blushed slightly, embarrassed, and simply offered the excuse that he wasn't good-looking. Liao Ningjie, however, unreservedly praised him, saying that even without his legs, His Highness was still a great beauty. As she pushed him, she thought to herself, "Not bad, this man has quite a bit of pride." Qin Yuhan, meanwhile, thought, "I'll just take that as a compliment." She smiled sweetly and whispered in his ear, "My lord is the most handsome man in the world. No one can compare." Lu Yingchun stood behind them, gnashing her teeth in anger, consumed with jealousy. That sickly man is actually so good-looking, and he has so many precious gifts. All those jewels and jewelry. Why should that bitch get them all? I should have poisoned her that day. Soon, the group entered the main hall. The Chancellor ordered the servants to quickly prepare a lavish banquet. Liao Ningjie immediately understood. Knowing I was coming back, they didn't even arrange a meal beforehand. They probably didn't expect His Highness to come back with me. She whispered to Qin Yuhan, "Your Highness, do you believe me now? I said my father was very frugal, right? Even though he knew we were coming, he didn't prepare a meal in advance. How stingy." Qin Yuhan replied indifferently, "You are absolutely right, my princess consort." He, on the other hand, thought, "I need to see if her relationship with the Chancellor is truly this bad." The Chancellor gave the prince an awkward smile. He deliberately raised his voice and asked Lu Yingchun, "Where are your younger sisters?" Ningjie has returned, and they don't even know the proper etiquette to come and greet her. Scolded by her father, Lu Yingchun became even angrier, glaring at Liao Ningjie with resentment. Qin Yuhan thought to himself, "If it's really like the rumors say, that she suffered so much bullying here, then I will definitely." He subconsciously reached out and touched Liao Ningjie's hand, which was resting on his shoulder. This thought startled him. What am I thinking? What does this have to do with me? She helped me heal my legs. I'll support her. Neither of us owes the other anything. It's no big deal. Just then, the other two concubine-born daughters arrived. Fourth Miss Lu Rushuan and third Miss Lu Ruru. Liao Ningjie thought to herself, third sister and fourth sister are both concubine-born. Although they're not as arrogant as eldest sister, they're not easy to get along with either. Before I got married, all three of them brought me food. There's no way to tell who poisoned it. Lu Ruru feigned guilt and said, "I knew eldest sister was coming back, so I spent half the day preparing. Don't blame me for being late." Eldest sister. But in her heart, she thought viciously, "That bitch is looking very pleased with herself today. Just you wait, I'll see how you leave this place." The aroma of food filled the main hall. The table was piled high with all sorts of exquisite dishes. The Chancellor said politely, "It's just a simple home-cooked meal, Your Highness. Please don't dislike it. Please eat." Liao Ningjie, without any hesitation, began to eat heartily, leaving the Chancellor and his wife stunned. Lu Yingchun frowned and said, "She's still a daughter of the Chancellor's manor. How can she eat with such a lack of manners? She's like a reincarnated starving ghost." But these words didn't affect Liao Ningjie's appetite at all. She wiped her mouth and said, "All these years in the Chancellor's manor, I barely saw any meat. Now that I see so many good dishes, of course I have to eat more." Lu Yingchun's voice grew louder. "Don't talk nonsense. Mother has always been fair. How could she neglect your food and clothing?" Jiang Shu also felt guilty and said, "Liao Ningjie, you are a princess consort now. You can't just slander people." Seeing this, Qin Yuhan slammed his chopsticks on the table and snorted coldly, expressing his displeasure. The Chancellor hurriedly said, "Ningjie, your stepmother's words may be sharp, but she has always been fair. Don't talk nonsense in front of His Highness." Qin Yuhan then realized that everyone in the Chancellor's family, except for Liao Ningjie, was united, treating her like an outsider. She seemed to be used to this kind of treatment. He said coldly, "Chancellor, did you mistreat your concubine-born daughter? Bring out the account books, and everything will be clear." Everyone felt guilty and didn't dare look at Qin Yuhan. If the account books were brought out, wouldn't the embezzlement be exposed? Liao Ningjie was also a little surprised. She didn't expect him to take the initiative to stir up this mess. She had to admit, it felt good to have someone backing her up. The Chancellor immediately changed the subject saying with a forced smile, Ningjia's birth mother passed away early, and my wife found her a good marriage. As a father, hearing him finish, I finally relaxed. Liao Ningjia focused on enjoying her meal, thinking to herself, what a load of nonsense. They're clearly pushing me into a fire pit, but I need to eat my fill first to have the energy to complain. Lu Ruru suddenly interjected, second sister, I specially asked the cook to make black chicken soup. It seems someone performed a wedding ceremony with a black chicken. Second sister, try it quickly. Don't let down my kind intentions. After she said this, the Chancellor and Jiang Shu exchanged glances, the atmosphere becoming slightly awkward. Liao Ningjia immediately took a large gulp of the soup, thinking to herself, hey, it tastes pretty good. I should make a pot of black chicken soup when I get back, like the kind used for offering sacrifices to the gods during the wedding, to nourish His Highness. Adding some ginseng and antler velvet would definitely make it even better. She was in a good mood and kindly reminded her younger sister, third sister, you're always eating. Be careful not to overnourish yourself. Don't blame me if your face breaks out in pimples. Lu Ruru's face twitched, thinking to herself, how pointed. She quickly explained, it's just that I've been eating a bit too much spicy food recently. I don't have any pimples. Lu Rushuan, seeing Liao Ningjia's sharp tongue today, thought to herself, this second sister used to be timid as a mouse. Why has she suddenly changed? Could she have been pretending all along? After the meal, Liao Ningjia excitedly announced, I'm full. By the way, according to custom, shouldn't His Highness and I stay here tonight? Jiang Shu said to Qin Yuhan somewhat awkwardly, Your Highness, Ningjia's courtyard is currently under renovation, so tonight, I'm afraid we can only ask you to stay in the main hall temporarily. She was panicking inside. How could she let His Highness stay in Liao Ningjia's dilapidated courtyard? Qin Yuhan turned and asked, what does Princess Consort think? Liao Ningjia replied, having Your Highness stay in the main hall. If word gets out, wouldn't we be the laughingstock? Eldest sister's courtyard is the best. Why don't His Highness and I stay there tonight? Seeing her eyeing her own courtyard, Lu Yingchun furiously scolded, Liao Ningjia, you're nothing but a tool brought in for a Chongshit marriage, and you still want to snatch my courtyard. Dream on. As soon as she finished speaking, the Chancellor slapped her across the face. He said awkwardly, you unruly girl, shut up. Then, the Chancellor turned to Liao Ningjia and said, Ningjia, your eldest sister spoke out of turn. I've already disciplined her. Don't take it to heart. Lu Yingchun was still Bu Fu cheat, retorting loudly, what did I say wrong? Liao Ningjia, you'll soon be abandoned by your husband's family. We'll see how smug you are then. At this moment, Qin Yuhan stood up and said coldly, are you all so certain that Princess Consort will be abandoned? The Chancellor hurriedly stood up and apologized. Your Highness, this daughter spoke out of turn. I will punish her by making her kneel in the ancestral hall for reflection. Jiang Shu added from the side, Chancellor, you must discipline your daughter properly. Liao Ningjia didn't expect Qin Yuhan to stand up for her. She heard him continue, as long as I am still here, Ningjia will always be the princess consort of Qin. If anyone in the Chancellor's residence dares to speak disrespectfully to her again, don't blame me for being impolite. She stared blankly at Qin Yuhan, thinking to herself, he's clearly urging me to cure his leg quickly. Why does he have to say it so sincerely? As dusk settled, the outside quieted down. Qin Yuhan leaned down and asked Liao Ningjia, Princess Consort, what do you think? The Chancellor's daughters watched. Their expressions varied. Liao Ningjia replied, today is supposed to be a happy day, so I won't hold it against her. However, Father, don't forget what you just said. Have her kneel in the temple to repent and truly reflect on her actions. The Chancellor immediately responded, of course. Someone, take eldest miss to the temple. Liao Ningjia was satisfied with the Chancellor's reaction and said, then His Highness and I will go to the garden to rest. Father, the rest is up to you. Father, didn't His Highness just say he wanted to go to the courtyard to see the willow trees and enjoy the spring flowers? Why is he going to the main hall now? Qin Yuhan asked curiously. Liao Ningjia sat casually across from him and said, I just said it casually. Anyway, that's eldest sister's courtyard. If I really went there to rest, I'm afraid I'd have nightmares. Qin Yuhan held his teacup, his gaze drifting into the distance. Liao Ningjia also focused on watching him. He turned and looked at her, their eyes meeting. She sighed inwardly. It turns out there really are such unparalleled people in this world. Liao Ningjia said with feeling, thank you, Your Highness, for speaking up for me in the main hall today. Qin Yuhan replied, you're welcome. As long as you cure my legs soon, consider repaying my kindness. After saying this, he looked at her and gave a gentle smile. That scene moved Liao Ningjie. She turned her face away, thinking, what is this feeling? If it weren't for me, you would have met King Yama by now. In this awkward situation, she decided to leave. I'm going to the temple. Since there's nothing for me to do here with you, I'll go to the temple. I still have many things to ask eldest sister. The bright moon illuminated the path she walked. Liao Ningjie had moved to the ancestral hall. Strange sizzling sounds came from within. Hearing the sounds, Lu Yingchun thought it was someone else and excitedly turned around, calling out mother. But upon discovering it was Liao Ningjie, she immediately snapped. Why is it you? What are you doing here? Liao Ningjie casually walked in and said, I'm here to watch the show, of course. Lu Yingchun raised her head and stubbornly retorted, don't think you're so great just because you're the princess consort of Qin. I'm still the most esteemed, eldest, legitimate daughter of the Chancellor's manor. The reputation and good fortune of the Chancellor's manor rest on me. So what? Sooner or later, everyone will have to kneel and bow to me, won't they? I'm not here to chat with you, eldest sister. On our wedding day, you were the one who poisoned me, weren't you? You dared to poison the princess consort. Have you thought about how you'll die? Lu Yingchun denied it vehemently. Poison. Don't slander me. If you have evidence, go investigate. Don't implicate others. Something happened to mother. I don't believe you're only thinking about yourself. Liao Ningjie caught the key word and wondered, implicate. Implicate what? Could it be that she wasn't alone and there are others involved? Indeed, if this matter were to spread, the Chancellor's manor would become a laughingstock. In this era, where family status is so important, it would bring shame to the entire family. My power isn't enough yet. I can't act rashly, she said smugly. Just accept your fate. You'll never win against me in this lifetime. Liao Ningjie abruptly turned around and said, what's the rush? There's plenty of time. Hearing this, Lu Yingchun fumed. Humph, who's afraid of who? Liao Ningjie thought, no rush, take it slow. No one can escape. An hour later, Qin Yuhan's helpless voice rang out, testing for poison with a silver needle. Consort Jiang isn't stupid. She wouldn't poison the food. Liao Ningjie tested the pastries with a silver needle and carefully replied, it's better to be safe than sorry. Seeing her frowning as she tested each pastry on the table, Qin Yuhan asked with concern, is something bothering you? What happened? Liao Ningjie paused. She avoided his gaze and said, I'll go test the other dishes over there. Your Highness, you can eat these 2 plates first. Qin Yuhan said, I'm not hungry. Liao Ningjie said caringly, you have to eat even if you're not hungry. Don't you want to recover quickly? He obediently picked up a pastry and brought it to his lips. Just as he was about to eat it, Liao Ningjie suddenly sat down beside his leg, startling him. What are you doing? She replied, Your Highness, the blood flow in your leg is blocked. Quick, take off your shoes. I'll massage them for you. His shoes were removed, and her slender hands gently massaged Qin Yuhan's thigh. Qin Yuhan glanced at her and suddenly thought, why is she so diligent today? Liao Ningjie thought, he spoke up for me a few times today. This can be considered as repayment. Seeing her expression, Qin Yuhan's face flushed slightly, thinking, why is this girl so cute? What am I thinking? Liao Ningjie continued her massage and asked with concern, how does it feel? Qin Yuhan said gently, very comfortable. The servants of the Chancellor's manor were secretly observing the situation from outside the door. Liao Ningjie, with her sharp senses, immediately noticed someone outside. She pondered, is it Lu Jianan or Jiang Shu? Time to put on a show. Liao Ningjie gave him a flirtatious glance. Her voice soft and sweet. Your Highness, she gently stroked his leg and then said, my massage is most effective for your leg. What do you think? Are you satisfied? Seeing her acting, Qin Yuhan moved away slightly and looked at her questioningly. He thought, what trick is this girl playing now? Finally, he also noticed a shadow outside the door. Qin Yuhan sighed and decided to play along. All right, let's see what kind of show you're putting on. Seeing the reluctant look on his face, Liao Ningjie was secretly delighted, thinking that he had tacitly agreed. She put on a coquettish voice and said, back at the manor, Your Highness, you always clung to me, so passionate. Why are you so cold today? This time, Qin Yuhan was completely taken aback, thinking, what is she saying passionate? She gave him another expectant look and continued, Nanny Zhao urges me every day to bear you a child, Your Highness. Why don't we retire early tonight? Qin Yuhan's heart skipped a beat. A child. He was already picturing himself holding a child. Liao Ningjie continued to embellish shamelessly, knowing that the eavesdroppers outside the door must be extremely embarrassed. Really, Your Highness, you never let me rest at night. A child is only a matter of time. Hearing him finally leave, Liao Ningjie thought smugly, trying to fight me. No way. I'm much more capable than you. Qin Yuhan cleared his throat and asked, who do you think sent them? Liao Ningjie casually replied, who knows? Half the people in the Chancellor's residence probably wish me dead. It could be anyone. Taking a blanket from the cabinet, she thought, sneaking around in the middle of the night, they just want to know if we're a real couple or not. Then she said to Qin Yuhan, at least this matter is settled for now. She handed the soft blanket to Qin Yuhan, who just stared blankly at it. He didn't react at all. She hopped onto the bed and called out, Your Highness, you have to make your own bed. I'm sleepy and going to sleep. Liao Ningjie snuggled into the covers, feeling particularly comfortable, and added, Your Highness, good night. Sweet dreams. Outside the window, the moon hung high. The Chancellor muttered to himself, it seems I still underestimated this daughter. She's actually able to control Qin Yuhan completely. This is a good thing for me. If I can control her, perhaps I can control Qin Yuhan. Then, whatever I want in the future, he'll have to obediently listen to me. A servant came to report, Madam also has a matter. She has pleaded several times for you to forgive eldest Mississippi. The Chancellor flew into a rage, fool. She almost dragged the entire Chancellor's residence down with her, and she dares to plead for mercy. If Madam feels so sorry for that unfilial daughter, let her go to the ancestral hall and keep her company. The next morning, the air in the Chancellor's residence was fresh. Liao Ningjie rubbed her eyes and woke up. She turned to Qin Yuhan and asked, morning, how did you sleep last night? Qin Yuhan's face was full of exhaustion, and he just stared at her intently. His attitude left Liao Ningjie a little at a loss, so she could only awkwardly say, the weather is nice outside. Shall I push you out to bask in the sun? Liao Ningjie pushed Qin Yuhan for a stroll in the garden. Petals drifted gently in the colorful garden, and Qin Yuhan reached out and caught one. Just then, they bumped into Lu Rushuan, who had just returned from morning prayers. Seeing Qin Yuhan, she froze, thinking to herself, so that's His Highness Qin Yuhan. He's truly handsome. If I had been the one to marry him, he would be mine now. In the garden filled with blooming flowers, she walked over and asked, second sister, Your Highness, are you going to see Mother? Liao Ningjie asked with confusion, see Mother. Lu Rushuan feigned surprise and said, last night, Mother pleaded for you, which angered Father. He punished her to kneel in the ancestral hall. She fainted before dawn. Didn't you know? Sister. Liao Ningjie looked at her, thinking, she's quite the storyteller. She frowned, thinking, as if I was the one who fainted. Lu Rushuan approached Liao Ningjie and whispered, sister, we are family. Let's go together and ask Father to forgive Mother, okay? She put on her innocent, white lotus act again. Qin Yuhan thought, looking at her white lotus act, anyone who didn't know better would be fooled. He also felt annoyed. She dares to bully my princess consort in front of me. He coldly said, no need. Ningjie, before he could finish, his hand was grabbed. Qin Yuhan looked at her in confusion, not understanding what she meant. Liao Ningjie thought, if I can be manipulated by such a small matter, I'm too useless. She pretended to be indifferent and said, if you want to go, go yourself. Why are you dragging me along? Do you not know the way? This attitude infuriated Lu Rushuan. She put on a pitiful look again and cried, second sister, no matter how good the prince's household is, the Chancellor's residence is your home. Today you can abandon your parents. Tomorrow, if you meet someone richer, you can even abandon His Highness. She deliberately said this for Qin Yuhan to hear. Qin Yuhan secretly laughed. Haha, she's saying this for me to hear. So stupid. As soon as she finished speaking, Liao Ningjie slapped her. She lightly rubbed her hand, even startling Qin Yuhan. Lu Rushuan said aggrievedly, why you dare to hit me? She then put on an innocent, white lotus act and said, fourth sister, what you said is too rebellious. His Highness is above all others. Only His Majesty is more esteemed. How dare you discuss such matters of the royal family? Looking at her reddened hand, she felt a twinge of sympathy. This girl, she actually made my hand hurt. Liao Ningjie shifted the blame back, continuing, does fourth sister think that His Highness will one day lose his power? Heavens, if someone were to hear this, our entire Chancellor's residence could lose our heads. Qin Yuhan, hearing her words, couldn't help but admire her cleverness in turning defeat into victory, even daring to invoke the Emperor's authority. Lu Rushuan hurriedly rushed to his side, anxiously explaining, Your Highness, Rushuan absolutely didn't mean that. But just as her hand Yuhan touched Qin Yuhan, he coldly said, "Stop." Such refined manners, truly the hallmark of a military family. He could barely suppress his anger. After being touched by her, Lu Rushuan frantically said, "Your Highness, I'm not." Before she could finish, Liao Ningjie pushed the prince away, not forgetting to stick her tongue out at Lu Rushuan, infuriating her to the point of stamping her feet. Seeing Lu Rushuan trembling with rage, Liao Ningjie leaned close to Qin Yuhan's ear and whispered, "Your Highness, your acting is quite good." Qin Yuhan awkwardly replied, "Don't overthink it." Lu Rushuan stomped her foot, cursing Liao Ningjie under her breath. The atmosphere in the Chancellor's residence remained peaceful, as if the previous quarrel hadn't happened. Liao Ningjie said to him, "You can say whatever you want, but since I know she fainted, I should still go see her." "Your Highness, please rest. I'll be back soon." Qin Yuhan asked with concern, "Can you handle it alone?" She turned back to him and said, "Before your Highness appeared, I lived like this every day, not to mention now I'm the princess consort." Hearing this, Qin Yuhan's heart tightened. He said gently, "All right, go ahead. If anything happens in the future, with me here, don't hesitate to ask for help." Liao Ningjie suddenly poked her head out from behind the door and asked with a grin, "So, your Highness is concerned about me?" Qin Yuhan stammered, trying to cover up, "This prince is concerned about his own legs." She waved goodbye, saying, all right, I'm going." Liao Ningjie skipped away, thinking to herself, "This man is so boring." Carrying a bowl of medicine, she entered Jiang Shu's room and called out with concern, "Mother, I've come to see you." Inwardly, she prayed, "Please don't let me be the death of you." The Chancellor was delighted to see her and said, "Ningjie, you're here, come sit." Liao Ningjie replied with a smile, "Thank you, father. How is mother?" He replied, "Her fever has subsided. The doctor just came and said she'll be fine after 2 more days of rest." Hearing this, she sighed in relief. "That's good. I specially had someone prepare a nourishing soup. Taking it regularly will help replenish qi and blood." Hearing this, Jiang Shu angrily scolded Liao Ningjie. "Don't think I don't know you're like a fox paying respects to a hen with ill intentions. Get out with your medicine." She flung the medicine bowl in her hand, splashing the liquid onto the Chancellor's face. He cried out, "Heavens!" Liao Ningjie quickly helped him wipe his face and asked with concern, "Father, are you all right?" The Chancellor was taken aback by her sudden concern and could only reply, "Ah, I'm fine. Then he turned and scolded Jiang Shu. "Ningjie is being kind. Look at you. Is this how a mother should behave? The prince is still in the residence. You should restrain yourself." "All right, I still have matters to attend to in the study. I'll be going now." Seeing the Chancellor about to leave, Jiang Shu hurriedly stopped him. "My lord, wait, I'm not." Cough, cough, cough. Lu Yingchun angrily added, "You wretch, it's all your fault. Why aren't you dead yet? Get out." As soon as she finished speaking, thunder rumbled outside the Chancellor's residence. Liao Ningjie coldly asked, "How do you know I'm not dead?" She leaned in and whispered, "Wasn't it you who poisoned me in the first place? On my wedding day, have you forgotten?" Her expression turned exceptionally fierce. "I crawled back from hell for revenge." Lu Yingchun asked in shock, "You? How do you know?" She backed away in panic. "You're not Liao Ningjie. Liao Ningjie is already dead." "Who are you?" Seeing Liao Ningjie's face become sinister and terrifying, she screamed in terror, "Ghost. You're a ghost." Lu Yingchun turned and ran, screaming for help. "There's a ghost." Watching her panicked state, Liao Ningjie thought to herself, "Luckily, I added some Amica Sherlin to the medicine to induce hallucinations. Especially after being processed, it reacts with the air and takes effect immediately, perfect for dealing with this mother and daughter pair." Lu Yingchun's panicked figure had already run far away. She thought to herself, "Don't worry, I won't let any of you off." Lu Yingchun, in her delirious state, fell into the residence's pond. A maid cried out in alarm, "Ah, eldest miss has fallen into the pond." Seeing her pathetic state, Liao Ningjie said happily, "Well done. The plan was executed perfectly." Qin Yuhan, seeing her fiddling with medicinal herbs, asked curiously, "What have you been up to all afternoon?" She casually replied, "Poison, but it won't kill anyone. I'm not as vicious as Lu Yingchun." "Do you know?" Qin Yuhan asked, frowning. "Lu Yingchun poisoned you. I originally just wanted to reprimand my subordinates for their poor intelligence gathering, but they hadn't heard anything." Liao Ningjie complained, "Yes, on our wedding day, I almost didn't even make it through your front door." Qin Yuhan finally understood. If you hadn't entered the Prince Chin's household, Ningjia, I might not have survived that day either. He'd barely finished the thought when Liao Ningjia anxiously said, "Right, I'm gonna deal with Lu Yingchun." But her hand was firmly grasped by his. Wait. Qin Yuhan looked at her with concern. "You want to go personally?" Liao Ningjia retorted, "You're not going to stop me, are you?" She seemed to suddenly realize something, pausing for a moment, a glint flashing in her eyes. "Are you concerned about me?" she asked him. Qin Yuhan stubbornly refused to admit it. "I'm just afraid you'll mess things up and disgrace the Prince Chin's household. That's all. Don't forget, your matters are my matters." Seeing his concern, Liao Ningjia's cheeks flushed slightly. "All right," she stammered. "You could ask for my help." Qin Yuhan instructed, "Have my shadow guard handle it." Jia Ying, hidden in a tree, suddenly sneezed. "What's going on? Is my grandma thinking about me?" Ha! The next morning, a scream suddenly pierced the air within the Chancellor's residence. The scream startled Liao Ningjia awake. Rubbing her eyes, she asked, "What's all the commotion outside? It's so noisy." A maid respectfully reported, "Your Highness, something has happened to the eldest Mississippi madam is causing a scene at your residence." "Oh, such a big fuss," Liao Ningjia said casually, and proceeded to her elder sister's courtyard. Just as she reached the entrance, she heard Jiang Shu berating someone, saying to the Chancellor, "My lord, but she's our only daughter. You must get justice for me." Liao Ningjia entered the room, her face full of concern. "I heard eldest sister isn't well. What happened?" Seeing her enter, Jiang Shu raged. "It's all your fault that my Yingchun has become like this." Her precious daughter was moaning in agony beside her. Ugh. Liao Ningjia feigned innocence. "Oh dear, what's wrong with eldest sister's throat?" "Mother, please don't wrongly accuse me. Do you have any proof?" The Chancellor remained silent, deep in thought, as Jiang Shu questioned. "Proof. Have the servants investigate, and the truth will naturally come to light." Liao Ningjia retorted, "Are you planning to lay your hands on me?" At that moment, Qin Yuhan's commanding voice rang out. "I'd like to see who dares." Seeing him arrive, the Chancellor broke out in a cold sweat and hastily bowed respectfully. "How dare I trouble your Highness to come personally?" He cursed inwardly. TSK. He arrived before even entering the gate. "He's quick," Qin Yuhan said coldly. "If I hadn't come, I'm afraid the princess consort wouldn't be able to return to the manor." The Chancellor waved his hands repeatedly in denial. "How could that be? That shrew is just making a fuss and doesn't understand decorum." He used shrew self-deprecatingly to refer to his wife. But Qin Yuhan wasn't about to let it go. He questioned coldly, "So, in the Chancellor's eyes, your wife using private punishment to wrongly accuse the princess consort is just making a fuss?" The Chancellor continued to make excuses. "My wife and I only have this one daughter." Upon suddenly hearing such dreadful news, we were overcome with grief. Qin Yuhan spoke with the authority of the royal family. "Oh, so every time your family is upset, you assault members of the Imperial family. I must report this matter to the Emperor." Seeing the prince's firm stance, Liao Ningjia admired him inwardly. Why is he so assertive today? So manly. I love it. The Chancellor, left with nothing more to say, could only concede. "Your Highness, please calm down. Your Highness, please calm down. That shrew has offended the royal family. Please, Your Highness, administer the punishment." He cursed Jiang Shu in his mind. "You stupid woman, letting this cripple seize the opportunity. You're such an idiot." Qin Yuhan turned to Liao Ningjia. "Princess consort, what do you think should be done?" She put on a worried expression. "Your Highness." Liao Ningjia, deeply immersed in her act, simply knelt down. Jia Ying followed suit. Looking up at the prince, tears welling in her eyes, she said, "How can we punish mother? It would be against our ancestors. I fear their wrath. Perhaps have her kneel in the ancestral hall for a few days, a small punishment as a warning. It would also serve as a lesson to others." Her words, coupled with her superb acting, almost made him laugh. The Chancellor hastily kowtowed respectfully. "Your Highness, Your Highness, your magnanimity is admirable." But Jiang Shu couldn't accept this. She pleaded with her husband, "No, my lord. How can I face anyone after this?" But the Chancellor only coldly scolded, "Leave." Inwardly, he cursed her, thinking, "You've given that good-for-nothing a handle against us, you imbecile." Lu Yingchun, supporting her mother, couldn't utter a word, only glaring fiercely at Liao Ningjia. That day was also the day they returned to the residence. Inside the carriage, Liao Ningjia asked him, Your Highness, you knew I poisoned her, yet you still helped me. Doesn't this make us accomplices? She gently wiped away a tear. Your Highness, you won't blame me for being cruel, will you? She thought to herself, might as well test him. Liao Ningjie moved closer to him and asked, Your Highness, do you want to protect me? She didn't understand why he would help her with the poisoning. Her lips neared Qin Yuhan's ear as she whispered, I'm so scared. This intimacy made Qin Yuhan blush. He thought, this woman, just now she was calling me you. Her fingers stopped him as she said suggestively, Your Highness, I have no way to repay you for helping me with this matter. So I must. Her lips drew even closer, causing Qin Yuhan's heart to flutter. He frowned and stopped Liao Ningjie. You don't need to test my feelings like this. Your fate is in my hands. I haven't even fully figured it out myself, so why bother getting entangled in such a small matter? These words surprised her. She quickly feigned ignorance, replying, What are you talking about? I don't understand anything. She then stealthily glanced at Qin Yuhan. Her gaze made him blush. Liao Ningjie secretly covered her mouth, stifling a giggle. This prince is so innocently adorable. Meanwhile, in the chancellor's residence, Lu Rushuan entered the study carrying a bowl of soup. She said obediently to the chancellor, Father, I made you some soup. He took the bowl and asked, Why are you in the study so late? She feigned concern. Actually, yesterday I went to offer incense and met a fortune teller. He said I might experience some misfortune soon. The chancellor asked doubtfully, Misfortune? She replied, yes. The fortune teller said that the recent strange occurrences in the residence are because someone has brought bad luck. But recently, only second sister and Prince Qin have entered the residence. Prince Qin has royal blood, so it shouldn't be him. I don't want to suspect second sister, but I'm afraid she will affect your career. Father, he thought to himself, she's right. Although I don't entirely believe these things, I can't risk my official position. The chancellor decided, have everyone in the residence avoid Ningjie. Lu Rushuan agreed, yes, I understand. But in her heart, she thought sinisterly, just avoiding her isn't enough, Liao Ningjie. I must make you. Rumors spread like wildfire through the streets and alleys. People gossip curiously. Have you heard? Princess Qin really is a jinx. You don't know. A very powerful fortune teller came to the capital. He said Princess Qin is the one bringing bad luck to the prince's residence. In the prince's residence, Liao Ningjie handed a bowl of medicine to the prince, saying gently, Here, drink your medicine. I specially had someone buy this recipe and brew it. He asked with concern, You went out. Did anything happen? She smiled brightly. What could happen? I was just at the residence gate. Look, I even brought you plum blossom cakes from Yinchi Pavilion. Qin Yuhan looked at the pastries, feeling a little apprehensive. So sweet. She picked up a cake and brought it to his lips. Try it. This way, the medicine won't taste so bitter. Liao Ningjie asked with a smile. Is it good? Qin Yuhan only said, If you like them, I can have the chef from there come to the residence and make them for you. You don't need to go out yourself. What if you encounter danger? At that moment, Jia Ying rushed in to report, Your Highness, someone from the palace is here. They are waiting for you in the main hall. Please come and see. Qin Yuhan was surprised. My father summoned me. I wonder what it's about. But Jia Ying only shook his head. He didn't know what had happened either. Jia Ying whispered in the prince's ear, The person who came is a junior apprentice of the emperor's eunuch. He said not to alarm the princess consort. Qin Yuhan frowned upon hearing this, having a vague feeling that something was wrong. The weather was truly awful that day, bitterly cold. The trees were bare from the frost. Qin Yuhan entered the main hall of the prince's residence and sat in the main seat, his expression serious and dignified. A eunuch bowed respectfully. Greetings, Your Highness. Qin Yuhan asked directly, skipped the formalities. What did my father summon me for? The eunuch simply shrugged. This servant doesn't know. Your Highness should ask His Majesty yourself. Seeing that he couldn't get any information, Qin Yuhan sighed. All right, I'll change and enter the palace. While helping the prince change, Jia Ying asked, How is the investigation into the princess consort's matter going? Jia Ying's hands stiffened slightly. Your Highness, we've discovered some things. Qin Yuhan said coldly, Speak. Jia Ying slowly began. The Kuzong clan, out of jealousy, secretly tampered with the princess consort's birth mother's medicine, leading to her premature death. Seeing his hesitation, Qin Yuhan commanded, Continue. With the princess consort losing her mother's protection at a young age, Miss Lu often bullied and humiliated her. When the princess consort was 7, she was pushed into the lotus pond and nearly died. She narrowly escaped with her life, but suffered from a persistent high fever. She only survived by eating spoiled porridge. Hearing of these hardships, Qin Yuhan became pensive. Jialing spoke up for Liao Ningjie. Your Highness, Lu Jianan is truly despicable. The princess consort is his own flesh and blood. Qin Yuhan raised a hand to silence him. He said coldly, "You've been talking too much lately." Jia Ying hurriedly replied, "Your Highness, please forgive me. It's just, even if the princess consort is at odds with the general's manor, it doesn't prove she isn't a spy." Qin Yuhan didn't rush to a conclusion. Whether she's a spy or not still needs to be investigated. He thought about her carefree demeanor, how she only seemed to care about eating. He couldn't help but think she resembled a little pig. Clearing his throat, he said to Jia Ying, "I know what I'm doing." Upon arriving at the Imperial Palace, a palace attendant announced, "Your Majesty, Prince Qin has arrived." Qin Yuhan waited patiently outside the hall. The emperor was reviewing memorials and instructed the eunuch beside him, "Let him in." Seeing Qin Yuhan, the emperor said coldly, "You're here." Qin Yuhan's expression was solemn. "May I ask why father has summoned me?" The emperor handed a memorial to the eunuch and asked him, "Have you heard the rumors spread by the soothsayers outside?" The eunuch passed the memorial to Qin Yuhan. The emperor said, "Open it and see." It was an imperial decree. Princess Consort Lu is tainted with evil energy, clashing with the dragon vein and weakening the imperial family's fortune. Her temperament is obstinate and jealous, her words improper. Prince Qin is hereby ordered to divorce his wife without objection. This decree is final. Qin Yuhan looked up and asked, "Father, what is the meaning of this?" The emperor's tone was harsh. "She's inauspicious. Divorce her." Seeing Qin Yuhan's continued silence, the emperor frowned and asked again, "Why aren't you speaking?" Qin Yuhan replied, "Father, if the princess consort is divorced so soon after the wedding, I fear she will be left with only a solitary lamp and the Buddha, destined for a lonely life." The emperor's tone was complex. "I know you're kind, but the rumors are spreading like wildfire. She's merely a concubine-born daughter. If this marriage wasn't meant to bring good fortune, how could she be worthy of entering the imperial family?" Before he could finish, Qin Yuhan closed the decree. He spoke with determination. "Father, whether she's a concubine-born daughter or a legitimate daughter, Ningjie is my princess consort, whom I welcomed through the main gate with a full 8-bearer sedan chair. I will never divorce her." Birds chirped melodiously outside the hall. After making his intentions clear to the emperor, Qin Yuhan returned to the prince's residence. Just as he entered, he heard Zixia reporting to the princess consort, "Your Highness, Hong Ying was gossiping behind your back again yesterday." Liao Ningjie said calmly, "Don't worry, I'll get rid of her one day." Mid-sentence, Qin Yuhan tapped his wheelchair, signaling them. He asked, "What are you talking about?" Zixia hurriedly bowed. "This servant greets your Highness." Liao Ningjie asked curiously, "Why are you here, your Highness?" This question rendered him momentarily speechless. Even the prince himself didn't know why he had rushed back. Reaching the doorway, Qin Yuhan fabricated an excuse. "My leg is a little uncomfortable. I came to have you look at it." Seeing this, Liao Ningjie immediately stood up and walked towards him, her face full of concern. "Is your leg hurting again?" Qin Yuhan felt a little embarrassed by his clumsy excuse, thinking how could he have told such a poor lie. Liao Ningjie had already bent down, gently touching his leg and asking with concern, "Where is it uncomfortable? Tell me more specifically." Since he had started, he had to continue. "It's a little painful, numb like being pricked by needles." Liao Ningjie speculated, "There's been a lot of rain this autumn, and the weather has turned cold. It might be the dampness." She turned and instructed the maid, "Jijia, bring a blanket." Jijia responded, "Yes," and quickly unfolded the blanket. She draped the blanket over his legs, explaining, "This will warm you up and your leg will feel better." She then instructed Jijia, "Go boil some water. Prepare the bath, right? Also add the herbs His Highness usually uses." Watching this scene, Qin Yuhan thought to himself, "She's so adorable bustling around for me like this." After Liao Ningjie arranged everything, she suddenly looked back at him, a meaningful smile appearing on her lips. She held up a steaming hot sweet potato, her smile intriguing. Qin Yuhan inwardly groaned, suddenly having a very bad premonition. Liao Ningjie's next action made his eyes widen. She stuffed the sweet potato into his arms, saying, "This will warm you up a bit more." The sweet potato was too hot, and Qin Yuhan couldn't help but cry out. Back in the room, Qin Yuhan stared blankly at the sweet potato in his hands. At this moment, Liao Ningjie was busy stirring the medicinal liquid in her hand. He said awkwardly, "I thought you were trying to scald me to death." Liao Ningjie replied, while applying medicine to him, "I'm sorry, it won't happen again." Liao Ningjie asked curiously, "By the way, why did you suddenly leave today?" Let's see the ultimate topic-changing skills of a modern person. Qin Yuhan was just about to bring the sweet potato to his mouth when her question interrupted him. He looked at her and said with difficulty, "The emperor." Seeing his hesitation, Liao Ningjie thought to herself, "What's wrong? Why won't he say it?"